Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Ready to Love DMV episode 10 entitled Better Late Than Never. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. We pick up right where we left off with Tori and P.O. Paul standing in front of everyone, waiting on the elimination news from Sabrina. She says to Tori, "You've made meaningful connections and everybody loves your personality and energy. Everyone made true connections recently and that didn't allow for depth. With Paul, you had connections at first, but the ladies thought you lost the women over time. They got to know you later in the process as well. The ladies have decided that Tori is not ready to love." Demetrius tries to hide his smiles, but it's obvious he's happy Tori is out of the way. Tori leaves with good energy and he says his goodbyes to everyone. Now the rest of the weekend, Tommy announces, will be with everyone getting to know one another still. At the end of the week, Tommy wants the scoop on everything. Demetrius then pulls Sabrina to the side later that evening to let her know the ball is in her court. She must make a decision. Sabrina says that they're both used to people coming to them and it's odd when it comes to being proactive. She wants him to show more action and compassion. He tells her he will try to make more efforts and give her what she's requesting. Sabrina says to production that now that Tori is gone, she can place more energy into Donovan and Demetrius. Demetrius makes a note to production that he admits he hasn't given 100% action in Sabrina because she had connections and so did he. Carmen and Donovan relax in the hot tub and indulge in one another. Donovan loves the vibes and maybe they can consider taking things to the next level when it comes to getting to know one another. Carmen knows that he has interest in Sabrina, Carmen, and Tina. Tina, although, isn't there, so it seems like Carmen and Sabrina need more of his attention. Donovan says to production that Carmen is very confident and easy to talk to when it comes to conversation. It flows, and the night was very romantic. DaKiya says to production she's still in her feelings about certain decisions made between Cliff and Joy, and they finally sit down to talk. DaKiya says that he still hasn't made a decision and he spent all of his time with Joy. He couldn't have been considerate at least to tell her that they would share a room and have onesies. She thought their connection was strong and everything that happened seemed to be thrown into her face. He's very understanding about her feelings and takes time to be honest. He planned on spending time with both of the women, but the connection with Joy was very strong. He gives her a hug and Cliff says to production that he never meant to hurt her feelings. His intentions were to chill with both women. DaKiya even sheds a few tears outside. Later that night, it's more fun in the hot tub with Joy, Cliff, Demetrius, and Sabrina. Cliff says to production that after the talk with DaKiya, all of his emotions are with Joy. Demetrius says to production that he's flirting more with Sabrina and it's fun. Sabrina says to production that she's having fun at the hot tub, but she still has feelings for Donovan. She wants to flirt in certain ways in her own pace and time. Cliff and Joy love the time that they spent with one another and share several kisses. He feels that it's creating a foundation for a possible future relationship. The next morning, everyone joins for breakfast as a car slowly pulls up to the mansion. Tina says to production that she hasn't made any connections that other people have had, and she needs to speak with Donovan. She tells everyone when she arrives that she feels like she missed everything. P.O. says to production that I don't know what she expected. Emotionally, it's like she's closed the door on everything. Carmen mentions that she heard she had car trouble and maybe she was coming from Alaska, jokingly. Tina wants to speak with Donovan alone. He wants to hear her out, but her not returning the phone calls and ghosting everyone kind of turned him off from getting to know her deeper. Tina says that she thought it was best to at least show up and talk to him. Tina says to production that I don't know if I can be open about how I feel. She tells Donovan that she's not sure about any of her connections. She feels her bonds weren't strong enough. Donovan tells Tina that unfortunately she's not in good standing with the guys and she's okay with that. Does she even want to continue with the process? The weekend was to develop deeper connections. If you don't want to be here, then why did you even show up? Donovan is over it, and it's obvious she seems like she doesn't care. He tells her that he's glad that she's okay and wishes her well. Paul doesn't even want to talk to Tina. He says that he's cutting his losses with her. Everyone agrees. What was the point of coming if you weren't going to be involved with the process? She almost came so late that the house would have been empty. People were on their way out. Carmen wants to speak with Tina to make sure that she's okay. Tina admits to Carmen that the only person she really likes is Donovan, but Carmen is confused. At the last deliberation, she said her connections were with Demetrius and Paul. Tina says that Demetrius reminded her of her ex, and with Paul, the energy changed. She says Paul knew how she felt, and it's not a secret. She's done with the process, but she's open. Everyone packs to leave, and Paul says to production that he learned a lot during this trip. He even witnessed some messiness. It should be interesting when they all meet again at the end of the week. Paul invites DaKiya to meet for dinner. She's nervous about this date because of the way things turned out with Cliff. He orders some red wine and they enjoy small talk. They reminisce about the conversations over the weekend and they learned more about one another. She tells him that she's been hurt before, but she's still open for love and believes in love. Paul tells her again that she's a wonderful, successful, beautiful black queen. DaKiya says that she feels that he's genuine and he's telling the truth, and she respects what he says. She feels Paul makes her feel like she's seen, and that's a great change. Cliff and Joy meet up, and Cliff is excited. He tells her that he's tunnel visioned in, tuned into her, everything concerning Joy. Cliff lets Joy know what he told DaKiya, that he considered spending time with both of the ladies, but he had a stronger connection with Joy. When it comes to what the future holds, they both can see growing with one another and learning more. They're on the same emotional playing field. It's the end of the week, and everyone meets to share updates with Tommy. Tommy knows the weekend probably felt like a blur, but that time was meant to focus on true connection. Before they begin, he wants to know, where's Tina? Did she ever show up to the getaway? Donovan updates him that he called her over and over again, and then she showed up at the last minute like nothing happened. They had a talk, but she could never give a strong answer. Carmen reports that they had a talk, and Tina felt as if she didn't have a connection with anyone there. Now Tommy wants to know what's the status with everyone else. Joy reports that the weekend with Cliff was great, and DaKiya gives her a strong side eye. Again, Joy and Cliff confirm that they're still moving forward and have addressed certain concerns, as trust. Cliff says, yes, I had to deal with those issues with my ex, but I see us moving forward and even being naked in the future on the beach. Our journey and our destination is in our hands. Paul feels this process was a roller coaster. He felt Tina was solid in her feelings. Now that's not the case. He says Carmen is a strong, business-minded woman and she's beautiful. So is DaKiya. They are polar opposites though. He feels Carmen isn't intentional. He feels he was sized up. Carmen is a little upset that he said such a thing. She says all she's done was try to initiate conversation and always stay posted during his process. Carmen says to production, does he really think that I would waste my time with someone if I wasn't interested? Now Carmen brings her receipts. She tells the room that she always communicated everything with Paul, who she was going out with, the dates, and how things went. She spills the tea. Paul says that his dates with DaKiya was Also, that he said that his women need to look a certain way. He doesn't want to think about how he would get aroused. Paul drops his head because the receipts have been placed in his face. He claims that he didn't say that exactly. He says that he said that he likes women to look sexy and to look a certain way. Why does Carmen even care? She shouldn't worry about what goes on with other dates. Tommy wants everyone to pause and breathe, but DaKiya says, may I say something? She mentions that she trusts Paul and believes what he says is true. She doesn't trust a word that comes out of Carmen's mouth. She feels since Carmen arrived, she's been trying to spin things in certain ways. DaKiya even says to production that she thinks Carmen is just bitter. Eric left and he was into me and I ruined things with her chances with him. Carmen wanted Donovan, so why is she concerned about me and Paul? DaKiya continues talking to the room. She vents about how she's not worried about arousal. She's happy with the way that she looks. Sexy doesn't have to be placed on display and classiness is always in style. Carmen responds saying, hey, it is what it is. If you're happy with what you want and you want to flaunt it, go ahead. And DaKiya says, well, it's natural versus purchased. So Joy tries hard to hold back a laugh as everyone else holds their heads down, staying out of the back and forth. Tommy stops the tit for tat and reminds everyone that if there isn't a connection with certain people, let's just move on. Donovan says to production that I don't know what's going on between Paul, Carmen, and DaKiya, but this moment was just childish. Tommy moves on to speak with Sabrina. Sabrina says that Donovan and Demetrius are both great men and she wants to focus on what's more important to her. Donovan shares similar interests and she's concerned though that he hasn't had enough time to heal if he really wants to commit now or be serious. I talked to Demetrius as well concerning being able to move forward and how we feel. He wants submissiveness, but that's not naturally who I am. That may be an issue in the future, and that scares me. Tommy moves on to Donovan, and Donovan feels that communication is key, and he's always been open and honest about his feelings, the journey, and what Sabrina is saying right now doesn't match up. I thought we were past certain concerns. Demetrius says that his friend says that I wanted somebody submissive, but that's just a word. That doesn't dictate me as a person while in a relationship. I will give my all when in a relationship. It's hard to go all in when she has other connections with other people. Sabrina jumps in saying that he says one thing, but his actions are different. She doesn't see that. Demetrius says to production that Sabrina and I have always had a connection from the beginning, and now she's indecisive? That's kind of throwing me off. Their connection isn't as strong as he thought. Tommy wants to know who is Donovan's strongest connection. And he says Carmen. He had a connection with Sabrina, but now it's different. The weekend shined light on where strong connections settled. Sabrina says to production that it's odd seeing Donovan being in attack mode. It's like he's embarrassed that I saw the red flags in both of them. It's just my opinion. Donovan reports that off camera when everyone was out, Sabrina snapped at him. She came at my neck saying, "You'll go home just like the last one." Sabrina claims that that's not true, but Donovan says that he made up his mind that the devil showed face. Tommy looks deep into Sabrina's eyes and asks, "Did you say that?" But Sabrina denies it all. She says they were talking and joking around. And he asked, "Who's going home next?" And I said jokingly, "I don't know. It could be you." Tommy wants everyone to breathe. It's tough, but it's conversations like this they need to have. Tommy says that he's been married for 20 years. And there are days when I know that my wife doesn't like me. In the long haul, you ride it out. You strive for better days and longevity. Next time we meet, maybe there will be some healing. I will talk with Tina to see what's going on. Tommy sets up a time to speak with Tina to see what's up. And he waits for her for over an hour, and she doesn't show up. He even calls over and over, and the calls are sent directly to voicemail. And that is the end of the episode. Next time on Ready to Love, Tommy tells everyone Tina, not surprisingly, stood him up, and Paul is annoyed she just disappeared. This go round, it's time for everyone to introduce their connections to their family. Donovan has his mom meet with Carmen, and the mom can't wait to share stories. She even asks if she can make a few phone calls. Joy meets Cliff's parents, and Joy is excited for the future. But after this process, she will be heading back to Mexico. Sabrina speaks with Donovan, and Donovan shares Sabrina says one thing and does another. Sabrina tells production that Donovan is sitting there like a bitter baby. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. Oh my goodness, the production team. Oh my goodness, the production team of this show. Y'all have stretched it out. As I predicted at the beginning, as I've done the reviews, y'all have stretched out this season for no reason. Absolutely no reason. We're up to 10 episodes. Why? Can we bring on the reunion already? Can we bring on the reunion? Because what is there left to talk about? You have these last 8 individuals where there's only some that like each other, a lot of connections went home. Why are we stretching this out? Like, why? Can we just hit the reset button, have the cast go to some tropical island somewhere in a mansion and get things popping? When that happens, y'all are gonna say, Bunny has been saying this for the past few seasons, that they need to be in a mansion and this stuff and forcing stuff to happen and people having coming in late and all that. We're over it. We're over it. Let's get to this episode where, it was really just a little petty little conversation, little argument that was nothing that they saved to the end. I was expecting it really to be some back and forth, and you know what I'm saying, and you know, your mama getting deep, but I mean, that really was nothing. It was just a few. That wasn't even a few jabs. That was like, you know, a few pats. Like, yeah, you know, it was nothing. Y'all got our hopes up, and you know, the excitement for what? For what? Once again, let's talk about DaKiya. Girl, what you want? What you want? Coffee, tea, water, juice. Look, say what y'all want to say about Carmen, y'all. But Carmen has always been viewed as the cast member that nobody likes. And I don't understand why. Like, okay. So let me dissect this, y'all. Because I know I dissect this because I know a lot of people will jump on bandwagons and become fans when y'all really not analyzing what's been going on. DaKiya is clearly intimidated by Carmen. I mean, it's clear. And if you don't agree with me, let me give you some receipts. I'll show you some receipts with just this episode. Okay. Now, many of you will say, well, Carmen said this and she's being messy and it seems like this. Okay. So let's just remember why Carmen is saying certain things. Okay. So my first example, my first receipt, let me pull out the receipt. I got a long CVS receipt. Okay. Are you ready? Woo, woo, woo. Woo, are you ready? I had to hit out the 5 heartbeats. Okay. So DaKiya instigated herself in this episode. If you caught it, if you pay attention to detail and you caught it, you with me, right? I'm doing the little 2 fingers eye to eye, seeing you eye to eye. DaKiya says something very interesting to production that she didn't mention to Carmen, right? She said, well, you know, Carmen is upset because Eric left because of me. And that's what she was really interested in. So, you know, she's like, you know, been coming for me, right? DaKiya, this is where you're wrong, okay? Carmen knew that man before you did, okay? And they already knew each other. And when they saw each other, things were blossoming, whether you were there or not, right? So you didn't ruin things for Carmen. I'm sure Carmen can give him a call right now if she wanted to. So no, you didn't take that opportunity away. 2, the fact that she says, oh, you into Donovan. Why are you worried about Paul? Now you're team Paul all of a sudden. When you were really team Cliff, right? And Eric, you are getting in where you fit in. And that's cool, sis. But let's just call out the facts. You taking ownership of why Eric isn't there anymore. That seems petty. That makes me think that you're the type to throw rocks and hide your hands. Okay? That you are nice nasty, as Iyanla Van Zandt would say. You're being very nice nasty. You probably one of those people, just like Sabrina. You're real cool. You're real sweet. But you'll try to throw in some little jabs here and there and some shadiness and pettiness along the way. Now, when Carmen mentioned what she mentioned about what Paul said, let me pull out another CVS receipt on y'all. Keep in mind that Paul was just like, oh, Carmen, and she looked like she liked to be thugged out after 9 p.m. Y'all forgot about that already? I believe Carmen that Paul said that he liked for his women to look a certain way because you wasn't digging DaKiya like that in the beginning. All right. As the women started to dwindle down, you started to consider her. OK, you didn't flirt with DaKiya the same way you did with Carmen. Come on, Paul. Come on, P.O. Come on, P.O.J. Come on, El Dweebo. You did not flirt with DaKiya the same way you did with Carmen. Can you not see that, y'all? And when she mentioned it, he dropped his head and he was like, you know what I mean? He gave that look like, oh, you know, like, dang, why you say that? You know what I mean? Then he got like, hey, don't worry about me and DaKiya. I mean, why you look, this is where Paul is wrong and this is where Carmen is right. So throughout this whole process, whether you've seen this season, the first season, whatever season, a lot of the static and drama comes from people who don't share with other people that have connections with what's going on with other people, right? We've seen in this episode that people will say, oh, such and such has a connection with them. How come they didn't tell me? So the thing that makes sense is why wouldn't you share that communication with other people? With Carmen saying, hey, I told him I went on other dates and this is why I'm going on dates and this is what's up. That's really what you're supposed to do. You don't have to tell the status of what's going on with the person, but it's fair, right? To share that communication. Hey, I went on a date with Donovan. I went on a date, whatever. Let's give you receipts. Let's give another receipt. Tori was upset and shocked, right? When he thought that the connection was high with them, but she really didn't communicate what was going on with Demetrius. It's another shocker, right? So Carmen is doing what you're supposed to do in this process, in my opinion. You're supposed to say, hey, I went out on a date with this person. It was cool. I do believe that Paul said his date with DaKiya was because the dates that they've been on have been whack. The dates, Paul and DaKiya, the ways that they've been on, Paul is even said the same thing in that dinner as he did when they were looking at the lake. I just want to tell you that you're beautiful, and the guy that wouldn't see you for what it was, he's blind. You saying the same stuff because he can't think of nothing else to say. Stop trying to make connections what they are because you're trying to be a champ at the end of the day. You're trying to be a winner at the end of the day. Y'all are basically the platonic dinners y'all been having. Come on, Paul. Let's keep it real. Sabrina. I caught this, and people on the bandwagon, just people taking people's word for it and not looking at the clues, right? You got to think like a detective, okay? I said that Sabrina is the type, how she's been behaving, gives off self-sabotage vibes. You team Demetrius, you team Donovan. I think, not trying to be shady, that you enjoyed having the pick of the guys. Like, I got a connection with this person. And then all of a sudden, you're nitpicking things from people like, oh, that's a red flag. That's a problem. That's a this, that's a that. Donovan told you straight up, I'm ready for this process. But you found something wrong with, I don't think he's healed. And I don't think stop trying to psychoanalyze people. Just stop it, right? I have a feeling that you do that a lot. You probably come in contact with a lot of good men and you find something wrong with him and you deuce out. With Demetrius, his friend said, not Demetrius, his friend said, I think he would want somebody submissive, and you ran with that, right? And Demetrius is saying, hey, I'm ready. If I'm in a relationship, this is who I'm with, yada, yada, yada. But I've said from the jump that Demetrius still has his player's card. I don't think he's ready for that, but I don't think he is, right? Because he didn't want to make the first move. And Sabrina said in this episode, I think we're both used to people coming to us. And so you included yourself in that. So Sabrina, when you say us, that means you included in that. You're used to men coming to you, right? And Demetrius is used to that. So y'all both are used to having that card to where people are seeking and coming after you. So when Demetrius didn't come at you hard like that, you took offense. That's what's going on. I need him to step up. When Tori was stepping up, y'all was vibing, right? So I'm confused. Carmen, keep being a boss. Keep being you, boo. I don't see anything wrong. People try to nitpick about things that you've done and all that. All you've done this season is pour the meow mix to people you were interested in, letting people you were interested. I don't see the problem at all. I don't understand why Paul is still there. If Paul leaves, right, who is DaKiya connecting with? Every guy that she has this so-called connection with, they haven't been interested in her. That's no shade. That's what we have been seeing. That is what's been going on. Eric was connecting with you, but something happened between you guys that's off camera that we don't have footage of. That was out. Cliff, y'all were digging one another, but he wasn't feeling you really in deep like that. But he was having a more deeper connection with Joy. Then we talking about Paul, which is the last of the person on your list, that you trying to force and make something happen. Y'all hugs seem like church hugs. Stop playing with me. Come on, y'all. I need y'all to put your adult thinking caps on with this whole situation. Y'all so quick to drag Carmen, but y'all not looking at the facts. Because after Eric left, DaKiya was like, oh, I'm interested in seeing if things will develop and blossom with other people. From that point, she really wasn't feeling anybody else like that for real. She was really digging Cliff a little bit, but she was just all in with Eric. So it's like she kind of just said, let's just see what happens with everybody else who's left, when everybody else was already making connections. I don't understand why people aren't seeing this. People are quick. It's like the episode goes off from the week before, and y'all just forget what happened that week before. Y'all are just like, y'all get amnesia about stuff that's happened. I really don't have too many notes. And Tina from the beginning when she got there, and then the ex said when she got there, she seemed kind of disconnected. She was kind of telling the same thing to Donovan and Paul and all of that. She seemed like she was just there, there physically there, but emotionally she was on somewhere else on another planet, which is fine. A lot of people have been on the show and they realize, dang, I realized that this process isn't for me. That's cool. I'm sure they'll drag out with the reunion. They'll probably dice that into 3 parts. And then, the dramatic climax of, is Tina gonna show up? Yeah. Is she gonna show up? She ignored the host of the show. She didn't even call back. She sent it to voicemail. She didn't even meet up with him. She stood up Tommy. It's like, if I was production, I'd be like, she not even invited to the reunion. We're not going to entertain this. Why? She not invited. What you gonna come or what you gonna talk for what? What? If you weren't emotionally ready for it, you should have just been real from the jump. Say, what, I don't want to go on this trip, and I'm pulling myself out of this process. What was so hard about that? Now, the ex told y'all. The ex told DEMETRIUS, right? The ex told DEMETRIUS and Donovan. Y'all remember, the ex said about Tina, she tends to emotionally cut people off and leave. Right? Iyanla Vanzant calls that when you holding people emotionally hostage. And Tina, that's what you're doing. When you fed up with something, instead of communicating, you just leave and ignore it and leave people hanging. That ex wasn't lying about that with you. It's facts on facts on facts. And it blew up in your face. Unfortunately, that's something you need to work on individually. No shade. That's just real. When we're adults, we need to see how we behave and correct that and work on that and change that. Tina, you weren't ready. You thought you were ready. You were tired of going on the dates and the dinners. You should have just said, I don't want to do this no more. I just not for me. Let me know what y'all thought. I've been saying the same thing. I've been right every week, and everything that I predict that's going to happen has happened. Anywho, I hope that Donovan and Carmen get together at the end. That's the only one that I see that's really, is anything there. They the ones that seem to have like a genuine connection and a genuine chill with one another. Let me know what you think, guys. You leave your comments down below. Don't forget to like this button, share this video, follow me on Instagram, and stay posted on other reviews and recaps. Y'all check out Atlanta season 3. This season is absolutely deep. I break down everything within the episode with facts, with history, all that stuff. You don't want to miss it. Make sure that you binge watch episodes 1 through 4. Click on that playlist, and also stay tuned for the Netflix original series, Inventing Anna. In the meantime, in between time, I'll see you next time.